Hi needle felters and crafters. So you have spent hours trying to get that perfect finish without any needle marks, like this spring chicken here, which is an absolutely beautiful project. But just how do you get it so perfect? How do we avoid the needle marks in the top of the project where you want it all to look so perfect when it's finished? Well, I have such a great tip, and you can use the cheapest core wool to create your project like this. This is from World of Wool, and this is just a really cheap blend of wool. It's pure wool, but it's just cheap blends in no particular pattern or order, and you look at it and you think, oh, I'm never going to be able to make something out of that or shape it, but believe me, you can. It's really good stuff, especially if you're working on bigger projects as well. The secret weapon is the carded batting, and I think it's the Perendale from World of Wool, the Perendale carded batting, which is what I've used for this lovely chicken here, or spring chicken if you like. It's an amazing tip for getting the perfect finish on so many needle felting projects without all the angst of spending hours and hours felting with a fine needle. Now, don't get me wrong, it will take some time, but the results are absolutely worth it. This is a firm felted project, and I'm going to show you the magic creating perfect top coat without any needle marks, and it can be done quite easily with this technique. So now that you're a bit closer, I can show you just how perfect this top coat finish is. It's so white. This is a Perendale carded bat, again from World of Wool, and it is an absolutely gorgeous carded bat, and it's the whitest bat you'll probably get that's a natural bat. So that's what I'm using on there. But you can see how perfect that finish is. The wings, the actual body itself. It looks amazing, and you wonder, how did you do that without leaving it with lots of needle marks? You can also use this for all sorts of other projects. So I've used the same technique for this corgi. I've used the same technique for the base of this mushroom, as well as the top cap, so you can use lots of different coloured carded bats. I have used it on the base of this mushroom house. You've got a beautiful smooth finish. And again, the numpkin, I have used the core wool for the hat and for the centre of the pumpkin, and then used carded batting for the top. Thing is, as well, you can use it for a really firm felt. So it doesn't just have to be for a soft felt. And I'm just going to show you this wool close up. So you can see it's just a mishmash of different types of wool. And you think, how am I going to shape that? But because it's pure wool, it shapes really easily, which I'm going to show you. And then I've got carded batting here. And then if you like to work from a pattern, the actual chicken, if you want to make a spring chicken, I have this fantastic pattern here, which I have created, and it has so much going on. There's something like 108 step-by-step photographs in there. 108, yep, goes all the way through. The other important thing it has is the size guide and template, and I think you can actually buy that on its own. It's really cheap on its own if you just wanted to follow a size guide. And it also has some lovely information on needle felting at the beginning. It has your wool guide. It tells you what wool you need or what wool you can use, and it gives you a list of the amount you will be using for each type of wool and tool. So that is the needle felting pattern, which I'm really proud of because it's so detailed. I don't miss a beat with these patterns. There is everything there. And then of course you've got the video tutorial for extra support. So that's, if you don't want to use a pattern, you just follow the video. Now we're going to go into the time lapse. I'm going to do a voiceover for that so I can just explain what's going on. And I hope you enjoy it. If you really are enjoying the content, then please give me a like and subscribe. It means so much to the channel. The more support I get, the more time I can put into my tutorials and my content. And also ask me anything in the comments. I love questions, so make sure you ask me anything you want to do, anything related to, well, you can ask me anything you like really, but I would assume it'd be related to needle felting. I'm always around at some point during the day, and I will always get back to you to answer your questions. So let's get into the Felt Hub. we are starting with the core wool, as I discussed, and I'm just going to really skim over this quickly because we're building up the core shape. But the important thing is going to be the finishing touches once we have got the shape put together, ready for that lovely top coat. Really, really good value for money. Like I said, I get mine from World of Wool, but you can get it from lots of needle felting places. But I love this stuff and it's so useful. And this core wool, as I said, it looks really rough and ready and you think, how am I going to shape it? But honestly, it's so easy to needle felt and shape. Now, what I did with this chicken was I actually did it in 3 sections. So I did the body, I did the head, and I did the tail separately. So this is the head I'm just shaping now around a barbecue skewer, leaving those loose ends because this is actually going to be attached to the top end of the body. And you'll see how rough and ready this shape looks before you add that top coat. You think, how on earth is that going to look like that chicken? But honestly, it will. You just need to have some patience though. Don't rush it. It will take time, and use your hands to manipulate the shape. And it kind of looks like a bit of a lump stuck on the end, but believe you me, this is the tip of the tail. So we need that raised area so the beautiful tail feathers sit on there. Now, before I add a big top coat, I am just going to go around the neck and all those really sort of ugly seams with the carded wool batting, just gently diagonally felting it in. And you can still use a coarse needle here, a 38 if you want, but you can also use a fine needle, a 40, which we'll be using any moment anyway. So keep working around the shape, using the needle at a diagonal angle. Really what we're trying to do is we're trying to get into all those crevices and those corners to really smooth it. We want a perfectly smooth finish. And we're nowhere near that at the moment. But don't worry, there will still be lumps and bumps, but we will be getting rid of them with this. Now, take your batting, split it in 2. We want a very thin, fine top coat. We'll probably add another one on. You lay that down over the top of your project. So what you want to do is you want to pull it around the shape and bring it to the bottom of your project where it's not going to be visible. It'll still be really tidy under there, but this is the trick to no needle marks on the visible areas, is just gently poking. Make sure you are using a fine needle. I'm using a 40 triangle. That's really important. And just keep wrapping it around, and you kind of wrap it around like a blanket and then just felt it into place and just tapping it into place. You're not really putting a lot of pressure on this wool, and that fine needle will stick it to the top of your core body shape. Keep working around the shape. Really start to focus now on how you want your finished shape to look. If you're using the template, then you'll have a size guide. If not, just follow what I'm doing on this video. And again, keep working. And we're just building up those layers. And because we're just sort of wafting them on almost, and now this is the all-important final coat. This is the one that we really want to have the least amount of needle marks on, because this is the final top coat. And I'm working exactly the same way, but I'm really making sure I'm getting all the air out so we haven't lost any shape. And I'm really pulling it around the entire body shape to the underneath of the chicken shape. That's the important thing. You're pulling it all in. And then once you've pulled it all in, you can then remove any excess as you go. But this is the all-important top coat. So everything sort of depends on this looking really nice and smooth and finished. But look how easy it is to achieve that beautiful finish without hours and hours of needle felting. Granted, this does take time, but nowhere near as much time as it would if you were using a fine needle to perfect every single area. And that, felters, is how you achieve that perfect top coat finish without all of those visible needle marks, allowing you to go from this to this. Who would have thought it, with just a handful of wool?